Hello, everyone, and welcome back. So, we are back to do another video for you all. In this video, we're going to be talking about the equinoxes. We're going to be diving into the astrology of the equinoxes and talking a little bit about those. So, I'm excited to get into that. It's going to be very, very, very exciting. So I hope you guys are ready for this. If you are new to my channel, welcome. Please feel free to click the subscribe button that's underneath this video. It should be a big red button, as well as a little bell icon beside that to get notified of any new videos I post. And if you are not new to my channel, then welcome back and thank you guys so much for joining me in this video. I hope you guys find this informational. So we're going to talk a little bit about the equinoxes and what they are and some of the different astrology that's going on with this equinox, so you guys can get an idea of maybe how to celebrate them if you do celebrate them. And if not, so then this will just be an informational video to learn about astrology if you would like. So let's dive into this. So first of all, we have the equinoxes coming up. Now, where in the world you are is going to depend on what equinox you're celebrating. So if you are in the northern hemisphere of the world, you guys will be celebrating the autumn equinox, or the first day of fall, autumn. And if you are in the southern hemisphere of the world, you guys will be celebrating the spring equinox, or the first day of spring. So the equinoxes occur when the earth gets in such a position that we have equal day and night. So a big theme that comes up with equinoxes is balance, right? Everything's equal, everything's balanced. The day and night is balanced. So the energies of the day and the energies of the night are balanced. So there's this big theme of balance coming up in general with the equinoxes. So anytime that you have an equinox, you know it's all about balance. So one thing I like to encourage people to do with any type of, especially we'll say pagan-based holiday, is to take a look outside, because a lot of pagan-based holidays, such as equinoxes, solstices, all those things are based around nature. So when we look outside and we take a look at what's going around, we can get an idea of what these holidays are about. So the equinoxes, when you look outside, these are the first day of fall and spring. So when you look out during the first day of fall, what do you see outside? You see plants are starting to shed things. Trees are starting to change color. The leaves are starting to fall off. The weather is cooling down quite a bit. You know, the cooler, more fall type temperatures are coming in. Plants also, not just trees, but plants also are shedding things that they no longer need to be able to conserve their energy for winter, right? Because they're prepping for all the snow and cold and all that stuff that's going to come through. And then we also have spring. So if you're living in the southern hemisphere of the world and you look outside, what is happening? You've got spring coming in. The warmer weather is coming back. Temperatures are beginning to rise. Things are beginning to warm up. Things are coming back to life, right? You have plants starting to grow. Flowers are starting to bloom. All these lovely signs of spring are starting to come into full force, which is awesome to see and a very beautiful thing to watch. And even fall is a very beautiful thing. So no matter where you are in the world, you have these different energies coming in, right? We have the fall time, which is all about releasing things, letting things go, right? Plants are releasing stuff, trees are releasing their leaves, they're shedding things that they don't need so that we can conserve energy for the winter. And humans are doing the same thing. And so the theme of this also is like releasing things, letting things go in our lives that we no longer need. And when you go on the flip side of the world into spring, this is a time of you know, growing things and cultivating things and bringing things into your life that you want and desire, right? Things are growing, things are manifesting. So this is a time of growth and development and building things and putting things together, right? Same with us as humans. This time of year is a good time if you're in the southern hemisphere of growing yourself, of bringing things into your life that you want, or growing the things in your life that you really want. So all of this has to do with the sun. So when we talk about any of the solstices, equinoxes, anything like that, they all have to do with the movement of the sun around the sky throughout the year. So I equate this. Now, this is just me personally, so take this if it resonates with you. If not, just disregard it completely. But I always equate the sun to like masculine energy. So when I follow sun cycles and different parts of what goes on in the year, when it comes to dealing with the sun, I always view it as dealing with my external world around me. So dealing with the things in the material world, such as like money, my clothing, my house, people in my life, all these different things. So when I'm talking about the different cycles, I take the sun as a time to really focus on external things in my life, right? So whatever is happening with the sun, it's a good time to take those concepts and apply them to external things that are going on. I equate the moon more towards internal things and working on feelings and emotions and all that kind of stuff. So when I work with lunar cycles, that's what I personally do. So you're going to see me refer to a lot of like outward stuff in this video because that's kind of what I connect it all to. Again, if that doesn't resonate with you, then, you know, take that concept for what it is. You can always change it and adapt it so it fits to you. Okay, so I'm going to pull up the chart in just a moment and we're going to take a look at this chart and we're going to analyze it. So let's see what we've got going on for this full moon or this equinox. I want this name. Give me a second here. Okay, so here we are with a chart of this equinox. So this is what an astrology chart looks like. This one is done for where I live. You guys can do charts for where you live if you want. If not, then the aspects and everything will all be the same anyways. So the first thing I wanted to point out we're going to look at here is we're going to break it all down. We're going to look at the different elements and modalities of this equinox, what main element is predominant with this equinox and what main modality and what that means. We are also going to take a look at, we're going to take a look at aspects as well. So over here, all these lovely symbols are all aspects. So this can tell us like energies that we may have to work through or energies that are kind of really flowing, helping us. What's kind of helping us with this equinox and what are some challenges we might encounter with this equinox. We're also going to look at some of the other astrological patterns, chart patterns, as well to kind of analyze some of that as well. We have something called a T-square going on, and we have a grand trine going on as well, and I will talk about what those mean as well, and we have a stellium up in Libra occurring, which I will also talk about. So the first thing I wanted to talk about that I always like to look at is the overall energies of this full moon or this equinox, sorry. So the overall energies of the equinox and what is going on. So first of all, you can see all the different planets that we have here. I don't include like your ascendant as a planet. I don't include Chiron as a planet. So not all of these I classify as planets. Sorry. It's zooming out. So I don't classify all of these as planets, but some people do. So I'm just going to go by the traditional planets in the chart. So to begin with, we're going to look at elements. So we have no planets because there's just an asteroid here and fire. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planets in air. We have 1, 2, 3 planets in earth, and then we have 2 planets in water. So the main dominant element with this equinox, just let me flip over here. So the main dominant element with this equinox is air. We have a lot of air energies floating around. We have 5 planets and air signs, so there is a lot of air energy. And what this means with this equinox is that there's a lot, air has to do with the mental body, has to do with mental energies, it has to do with the mind, how we think, how we communicate, how we socialize, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of mental energies floating around this equinox. A lot of mental energies. And when mental energies are high, you find people really up in their heads thinking about things, people wanting to socialize, people wanting to talk, people pondering things, okay? So these are energies that are going to come up or could come up for you this equinox, is you may find yourself kind of up in your head thinking about things a lot. You may find yourself maybe writing things out or communicating in some way, shape, or form and wanting to socialize, right? Especially with a lot of these energies in Libra too, brings out that socialization aspect, but we will talk about that later. So there's a lot of mental energy coming up with this equinox. A lot of air energy, a lot of mental energy. So if you find yourself feeling really kind of stuck in your head, that could be why. But with the mental energies comes thoughts, comes ideas, comes inspiration, right? New ideas, new thoughts, new ways of thinking, new ways of communicating, all these things. So a lot of also like positive energy, not always getting stuck up in your head, but you may find like you have a lot of thoughts and ideas and stuff, and that's good. Just try not to get too stuck up in it. Sometimes that can be a big thing with people, is they get overthinking of things. When you have too much air, sometimes you can overthink things. So just be a little cautious of that, and not to be overthinking everything. The modality, the main modality that we have here, let's switch this back. I'll show you guys. So the main modality is fixed. So when we go and look at this chart, C, F, and M are the modalities: cardinal, fixed, immutable. So you can see here that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 planets in cardinal. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planets in fixed, and 1 planet immutable. So the main modality is fixed, which is really, really awesome because it gives us some energy that we may need. So with fixed energy, with fixed being the modality, fixed signs are the ones that occur in the middle of each season. So these are like this energies of you've made it halfway, now you need to get to the end, right? So with that energy comes determination, comes reliability. You know, they are the energies of the zodiac that really want to keep things going and they want to see things through to the end. Now, one issue with fixed signs, though, is that they don't typically change well. They don't like beginning new things. They don't like anything new. So when it comes to beginning something or ending something or changing something up, typically not always the easiest thing for fixed signs. So finding that it could be a challenge. I'm not going to say it will be a challenge, but it could prove to be a little bit of a challenge to change things up, switch things up. Um, if you are somebody with a lot of fixed signs in your zodiac, in your birth chart to begin with, right? So if you are somebody who's very fixed in nature, you don't like a whole lot of change, you know, once you start something, you like to see it through to the end. This equinox particularly could be a bit of a challenge for you, in the fact that kind of it's about creating new things and switching things up, right? However, the positive side of this is that fixed energy is pushing us, it's helping us. So you may also find that you just have this determination to see things through to the end. I like to equate fixed in this case to, like, you know, if you're starting a race, right? Let's say you're running a race and you're at the beginning of it, and you're running and you're running and you're running, and you're about halfway through it, or you're at a point in the race where you're beginning to run out of steam, right? And you're wondering if you can make it through to the end. That fixed energy is the person on the sidelines that's cheering you on, that's giving you that motivation and that energy to make it through to the end. It's like your cheerleader, right? So this fixed energy that's underlying this equinox is really awesome in that sense, that when we start new things, whatever we put into motion with this equinox, we have that energy of keeping it going, right? It will be seen through to the end because you have that energy that's kind of just pushing it through and keeping it going, which is really awesome. So whatever you choose to do with this equinox, this energy behind it, this fixed energy behind it, that's going to keep it going, which to me is super awesome. I don't know, I find that awesome. I have a lot of fixed energy in my chart, so like I said, this could be challenging for those of you who do. So don't, but use that to your advantage, right? To just kind of keep pushing forward with things, even if it is a challenge. That's how we grow, right? So just keep pushing through with it. Let's see what else we got here. We have, so the next thing I wanted to look at was the aspects of things. So we have a few aspects coming up. So we do know, oh, there was one more thing I wanted to talk about very quickly before I move on. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that we lack mutability and we lack fire with this equinox. So while we have all these ideas coming through, fire has to do with energy and having the energy to do things. So a lot of people, you know, we may have lots of new ideas and things coming into our minds, things we're thinking about, contemplating, pondering, but the energy to actually do things might not be there. Okay, unless you're somebody who has a lot of fire naturally, then the energy might be there. But in general, as a general, now this is going to vary from person to person again, but in general, the overall, there's not a lot of motivation, right? There's not a lot of drive, there's not a lot of fire, there's not a lot of energy. So the energy might slightly be lacking. Also, there's not a lot of mutability, so that flexibility that, you know, being able to change and adapt with things might also be lacking. So good time, like I said, to start new things because there's a fair amount of cardinal energy. So good time to start things, to keep things going. But as far as it comes to like changing things up, you know, being flexible and adaptable, we may find that around this time we might not be as flexible and adaptable as maybe we normally are. You know, we might not have as much energy as we normally do, and that's okay. So don't let that get you down, but that is something to just be wary of, that energy is a bit low, flexibility is a little bit low. So that's also something just to keep mindful of. No matter where in the pardon me, no matter where in the world you are, that's going to be the same worldwide, because all the planets are still in the same signs. Okay, so next I wanted to talk about the aspects. So we're going to flip over here to the aspects. We have the first aspect that we have here is Mars conjunct with the Sun. We have Mars conjunct with the Sun. We have Saturn trine with the Sun. We have Pluto trine with the Sun. We have the North Node trine with the Sun. And we have Chiron opposite the Sun. So I'm not going to look at the AC or the NC because those are going to change depending on where in the world you are, and you don't really want, that's going to be different for everybody. So those aspects will change. So we have a lot of going on here. So first of all, let's start with Mars and the Sun. So here you can see, there's Mars. We have Mars up here and the Sun, which is really cool. I like that. Now, before I jump any further ahead, this is a chart for when the Sun is at 1 degree. I believe this is the 24th of September. The equinox, they're saying, is on the 22nd, sorry, of September. However, astrologically speaking, the equinox occurs when the Sun hits the 1st degree of Libra. So that is where we're looking at. So the date that that occurs on is actually the 24th of September and not to the 22nd. You can, all these energies will be, you can, utilize them within that time span. So they're all going to be the same. I've already looked, all the energies are the same. All the aspects are the same. I've just moved the chart ahead so that it is falling on the actual day of the equinox, and we can look at the actual equinox energies. So first of all, we have the Sun and Mars, both conjunct, right? They're side by side with each other. So what does Mars conjunct the Sun mean? So when you have the planets beside each other, it's a conjunction, meaning the energies are blending together, which is really, really awesome. So Mars is not super energetic in Libra. Mars is at its peak of energy in Aries. It's at its height. So right now it's on the opposite end of the spectrum, and it's actually at its lowest point of energy. So Mars does not have a whole lot of energy in Libra. So you may find that a lot of people are super picky right now about where they put their energy, right? They're not going to be exuding a lot of energy. You may not feel like exuding a lot of energy with this equinox because there is this sense of, I only have so much energy, right? You want to be very cautious about where you are expending your energy. However, the fact that the Sun is coming in with it and they're actually blending energies, it gives Mars gives these energies a boost. So Mars has more energy now because the Sun is the planet that brings everything to life. But without the Sun, we would not have life on our planet. So when the Sun joins with anything, it brings life to it, right? So it's revitalizing the Mars energy, which means we get a little energy boost. We still might not have all the energy in the world. We have a little bit more energy than we normally would, right? It's still important to be kind of picky and choosy during this time of where you put your energy because energy is low. So do make sure that you're putting your energy in the right spot. But the Sun coming in does increase your energy. I feel like it also is going to increase people's drives and desires to want to do things because Mars is our get up and go planet, right? It's the planet that wants to do something. It doesn't like sitting around. So our desire to kind of get up and go and do something and take action is going to be there. You just got to be a little bit choosy about what you're doing so that you're not expending energy where you don't need to be, right? You don't want to burn yourself out. Burnout is a very very high possibility with this because you only have so much energy you're working with, right? Mars doesn't have a whole lot of energy. So in general, you may not find that you have a whole lot of energy. Now, again, this is going to affect everybody differently because it's going to play out for everybody differently. These are general readings, so take what resonates with you. You know, if you do find that you're low on energy, at least you know what's causing it, right? So yeah, the sun's coming in and it's saying, I can give you this energy boost. And Mars is like, I love you, right? Thank you so much. You know, Mars is a little bit more happy with that energy boost. And now Mars is like, well, I've got a little bit more energy to give to you guys so that y'all can get up and go, right? So that's a good thing. So we've got the energy behind this for sure. So good time. So we have Mars coming in and giving us some energy. The sun coming in and giving Mars some energy, which is in turn giving us some energy. We also have, what's the next planet? We also, so the next astrological aspect I want to look at is trine. So Saturn trine the sun. So we have Saturn in the sun trining. So trining is a natural flow of energy. The sun is like our aim. Okay, I like to equate the sun as like your bullseye. What is the bullseye that you're trying to hit? I don't know why. I just like to use that analogy. So the sun is what is the bullseye that you're trying to hit? When the sun has this energy, and Saturn is our planet of restriction, but on the positive side of restriction brings things into focus, right? You got to think of it as, you know, having this wide vision or this narrow vision, right? The narrower your vision, the more focused you are on something, right? When you're focused on something, you don't see things around you necessarily, right? It's seeing the big picture as opposed to seeing the details or seeing the smaller, I don't want to say smaller picture, but it's just a more focused energy. Saturn condenses things, right? It brings things into focus. So when Saturn's energy is working well with the sun's energy, it helps us to bring things in. It helps to bring in this energy of focus for us. So you may find with this autumn equinox that you are extremely focused, that you have a target, you have an aim, you have a goal, and your determination, you're focused, you have determination, you have drive, and you have focus to get there, which is really awesome, right? No matter what your goal is, whether it's to get rid of something or bring something in, you have the determination, you have the drive, and you have the focus to get there. It's like tunnel vision. You're on that path and you see the end, and that is just where you're heading, right? So that's good energy to have. The only caution with that on the flip side is you can limit yourself, right? Try not to limit yourself too much. Try not to get so focused on something that you actually end up limiting yourself from exploring other things that could be potential possibilities as well. But I feel like this is definitely a positive thing. There is really no like negative aspect to that, like I said. So we have this positive energy of Saturn coming in saying, I can help you, whatever your goals are, whatever you're looking to achieve, whatever your bullseye is, I can help narrow in your focus on that so that you can achieve it, which is super good. Super good. I think anyways. And then we have the next one that we have, let's see, is we have Pluto trining with the sun as well. So again, it's that flow of energy, right? Pluto is all about transformation. So Pluto is the planet of transforming things. Pluto, interesting fact about Pluto, the planet itself is the reason it's connected to transformation, or one of the reasons, is Pluto does an orbit that's really, it's a funky orbit. It's definitely not ecliptical, like perfect circle kind of orbit. But at the points when it's farthest away from the sun, everything on Pluto's surface is ice. It's frozen solid. But as it orbits the sun and it gets closer to the sun, all that, all the solid, oh my goodness, I just lost wording. All the solid material that is on Pluto's surface changes and transforms into gas, and it becomes non-solid. So that's where the concept and ideology of change and transformation comes through Pluto, as well as he is the Roman god of the underworld. So it's also connected to death, right? And death being not necessarily the literal, oh my God, you're going to die, but death being the concept of things we need to let die in our lives. So it doesn't necessarily mean we are going to die, but it could mean like there are things that we need to let die, or certain, maybe we have a toxic person in our life that we have to let that relationship die, or maybe we have a toxic mindset that we have to let those thoughts die. That's the concept of death that Pluto brings. So there's a lot of opportunity in a positive way, because trines are really good aspects. There's a lot of opportunity for change and transformation, and even release, to let go of things. Pluto is coming in and it's helping us and saying, like, look, whatever is holding you back from getting to your bullseye, I can help you change and transform that. I can help you clear it out so that you can, or change it into something that is actually going to help you, which is really, really amazing too. So we have Pluto coming in offering this change and transformation energy. Saturn's coming in and it's offering this focused energy, and Mars is coming in with not a whole lot of energy, but the sun is working with Mars and saying, that's okay, I'll help you out too. We're going to give you some energy. So Mars is coming in with a little bit of energy that he has and saying, well, I can give you what energy I have to move forward with things. So we have energy, we have focus, and we have a release as well, transformation. So very, very cool things. The other aspect is not so, it's a bit more of a challenging one, but challenges, remember, help us to grow. So we have Chiron opposite the sun. So oppositions. Oppositions, sort of. Oppositions are like those teeter-totters. Okay. Oppositions require us to find some sort of balance, but we're not going to have balance all the time. So the thing is with oppositions is paying attention to what needs to be paid attention to balance out. We either have an excess or not enough. So it's either it's out of balance somehow. You have too much on one end and not enough on the other, right? If you have this teeter-totter and you have somebody who weighs like a lot, you have somebody who's really light and then somebody who's really heavy, obviously the person who's lighter is going to end up in the air, and the person who's heavier is going to end up sinking the other side, right? Whereas if you release some of that weight, or you add weights to the other person, whichever the case may be, you make it might be easier to make the other person heavier than to make the heavier person lighter. But I mean, if you were to take the heavier person and add a backpack or something onto their back, it's make them the lighter person, and add weight to them to make them heavier, it would balance out, right? What do you need to focus on to balance things out? That's what oppositions are all about. So we have this opposition between Chiron and our sun. So our sun is our bullseye. What are we looking? Where is our bullseye? What do we want to aim at? What do we want to achieve? Right? Where do we want to be? What do we want to become? And then we have Chiron, which is the planet of wounds. Chiron represents our wounds, where we've been hurt. And sometimes those wounds aren't always healed. Right now we have Chiron in Aries, which is all about healing our own healing ourselves, healing our childhood wounds, particularly because Aries has to do with childhood. So healing our wounds from childhood, going over and also healing any physical wounds. So if we have any physical ailments, that kind of thing, Chiron is like, you need to start taking care of your physical body as well. But these wounds from Chiron are holding us back from achieving our goals. So it's about balancing that out, right? Well, how do we balance that out? We have to heal those wounds, right? If you are trying to run if you're trying to run a race, you're going to move a lot faster without any extra weight on you. As opposed to carrying a knapsack, again, with a ton of bricks in it, those bricks are going to slow you down. It's easier to drop the backpack and move on than it is to carry all that weight with you, right? So that's what Chiron is. Chiron is the weight in the knapsack. When you can heal those, you release them, and then you can move faster towards what you want to move towards. Okay, so while some of us might be trying to move towards a goal, if you find that you're having a hard time manifesting that goal, it could be because you're dragging along a lot of extra baggage that you need to get rid of, a lot of extra wounds, a lot of hurt, a lot of, just baggage in general. Chiron is like, what baggage do you need to get rid of in order to balance this out? Do you have too much baggage? Do you have not enough baggage? Typically when it's opposed in the sun, it's like there's too much baggage. You're holding yourself back. You're trying to carry too much. You have to heal some of this and work through some of this and release it to let it go. And then you see yourself progress further. And also the sun has to do with our purest form of ourselves, right? So who we are on a soul level, who we are at our core, who is our authentic selves, right? And sometimes our wounds, they color us. They prevent us from expressing or to even tapping into our authentic self, because then we start walking around with our wounds. As we heal those wounds, we heal ourselves and we can become more of our authentic selves, right? So that's another thing. But there is this balancing act, and that might be a little hard. It might be hard to go back and release all those things and do all that work. Because it's difficult, you know what I mean? But Chiron is like, you can't move forward until you release this. You can't move forward until you release this. And I think I missed an aspect here too. So we're gonna go back, and so that might be the challenge, is letting go of things that you're dragging with you. That's the only challenge coming up. We did also have a trine with the North Node, so that's another positive aspect. So the let's see. So the North Node looks like a little horseshoe, and it represents it. So the North Node represents what we need to be working towards. Okay, so say you're walking a path, right? And you stop along the path. Say you're walking in the path of your life, and at some point you stop, right? The North Node is what lies ahead of you in that path. The South Node is what's behind you in the path, right? What you've already been through, maybe what you need to be releasing. Again, Chiron in the South Node kind of had the same thing. It's a baggage that you're taking with you. Only Chiron is more baggage you've acquired through this life, whereas the South Node is more baggage you've acquired from past lives and that you've kind of carried over. So North Node is like, where are you going? Future lives. In this life, in future lives, where are you going? Right? What lies in the road ahead? So the fact that these energies are trining means that this is being illuminated for you. The North Node is saying, like, look, I know where you need to be. I can help you get there. I know where your bullseye is, provided you're aiming at the right bullseye and not somebody else's bullseye or some other bullseye that's just a distraction, right? It's saying, I can help you get to where you truly need to be so that you can be your most authentic self, so that you can be the best version of yourself that you can be, which is really amazing too. So again, these energies are just flowing. So there is these huge energies of there's this energy of wanting to do something, wanting to take some sort of action. There is this focused energy coming through with this this equinox. There is this transformative energy coming through with this equinox. And there is this futuristic energy, right? Looking ahead at where you want to be. Where are you headed? That's coming through with this equinox. So a lot of thinking. My foot's asleep. Sorry. A lot of thinking about all of this because we have so much mental energy. These are things that might be going through your mind, right? Your mind may be very focused on where you're heading next, right? What are the things you need to change and transform in your life, and where are you heading to next in your life? What are your next steps? So I forget what I was going to say. Okay, so we're going to move on to talking about the grand trine and the T-square that is occurring. So let me switch that over. So here you can see there's a giant blue triangle between all the air signs. So Libra, Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. Do you see those? So that's what we call a grand trine. And that simply means that there's a lot of flow between air signs. So energy is just naturally flowing in a very mental way. So like I said, you've got this inflow, this influx of so you've got this natural flow of mental energy coming into play. So, and it's flowing on all aspects, right? You're thinking about your personal, thinking about social, and thinking about collective, right, on a bigger scale. So you've got all this natural flow of energy coming in, and it's just a slow, steady, stable flow of mental energy. So lots, like I said, lots of thoughts, lots of up in your head, lots of desires to communicate with people, talk to people, you know, in whatever way you communicate. Some people write things out, they do blogs, they do videos, they do, you know, whatever way you communicate with people, talking, getting together, socializing. Again, air is very social too, so socializing may be something in there as well, but there is just this natural flow. So when you're talking to people as well, you may find that there's just a natural flow with things. When you're socializing with people, there just seems to be this natural flow. Now, again, that's not going to go for everybody because everybody's different. And, you know, you vibe with some people, you don't vibe with other people, that kind of thing. But in general, there's just this energy that just kind of flows. Very watery energy that just moves, right? And then we have the T-square, which is the challenge, another challenging aspect. So here you can see Venus, and then there's Jupiter, and then there's the moon, and we go back up to Venus. So there is a T-square where we have an opposition between Venus and the moon, and then we have a square between the moon and so Jupiter, Saturn. There's a square there, and there's a square there. So this just represents challenges. Sorry, I gotta go down my chart and see where that T-squares. Okay. So Jupiter and Saturn. So there's two T-squares, I'm assuming. Okay, so there's a couple T-squares, and T-squares just mean, again, there's challenges. Now, these T-squares are occurring in Scorpio, Aquarius, and Taurus. So those are fixed signs. So we have this T-square, or a couple T-squares forming in fixed signs. So people who have a lot of fixed energy, or who are highly fixed, meaning stubborn, you don't like to change, resistant to change, but you are the type of person, like, once you start something, you see it through, there's no changing your course kind of thing. The T-square might be a bit of like a challenges for you. You might have to find yourself negotiating and kind of caving, being a little more flexible and adaptable to things than you typically are. With T-squares, you have that opposition on one end, so you need to find the balance. And then you have the two squares, and squares are always to work through those, you got to find some sort of middle ground, right? There's a compromise that needs to be made. So you may find yourself needing to compromise in order to find a balance in something. There is definitely the sense of compromising and working together and finding that middle ground in order to create some sort of balance with things, which is really can be very, very challenging. So for a lot of you, there might be, finding the middle grounds when it comes to Jupiter and Saturn, and your limits and your boundaries as opposed to your possibilities, right? Where you might be more open as opposed to where you need to kind of restrict things. Expansion versus restriction, right? You may need to find some middle ground in terms of your socialization and emotions, all those different things. Venus has to do with a lot of different. We're not even going to get into that, but there could be some challenges. I feel like that will just go on forever. So just know that there could be some challenges around like negotiating and finding middle grounds with things. But the trick is you have to find that middle ground in order to create some sort of balance. Okay. So it's really important to be relatively flexible and adaptable with this equinox. Just expect some challenges to come up there, or there could be some challenges come up there. But again, working through them helps you to grow and expand. So if the challenges come up, it's just because there's a part of you that needs to grow and expand out of that fixed energy. You have to learn to go with the flow of things and to be a little more flexible and adaptable. Okay, so next, the thing I want to talk about is this stellium in Libra over here. So you can see there's 3 planets in the sign of Libra. That indicates, that's what we call a stellium in astrology, and it just means that there's a lot of energy and a lot of focus being placed here. So when it comes to Libra, there is a lot of energy. So when it comes to this equinox as well, there's a lot of energy and a lot of focus being put on Libra, Libra is your partnership sign. It's your sign of partnership. It's your sign of balance. So there's a lot of energy being put on finding balance in your life, as well as connecting with people on a one-on-one basis, right? Whether this be, friends, One-on-one friends, okay. Groups of friends is Aquarius, like your social circle is more Aquarius, but I'm talking like when you go out for coffee with a friend and it's you one-on-one. When you're at a friend's house and you're just sitting there chatting one-on-one, that's Libra energy, right? Libra energies are partnerships. So when you have two people coming together on whatever reason, this could be family, this could be friendship, this could be romantic, this could be so many different things, but there is a focus on your one-on-one relationships. There is a focus on balance and keeping things balanced in your life right now. A lot of those energies coming in. So if you are in the southern hemisphere of the world, all of this is going to impact how pulling things in, right? So we have Mars, which is giving you energy. So you have a lot of energy coming in to create new things, to manifest new things. Saturn's coming in to give you the focus, help you focus with things, right? Focusing on what you want to draw into your life, what you need to draw into your life, what you need to grow within your life. You have a Pluto coming in that's saying, maybe how can we take something that's not working for our lives and change it and grow it and develop it into something that is working, or just release it all together and let it go. And then you have the North Node coming in saying that help is going to help you to draw in the life that you are supposed to be living. It's going to help you manifest different situations and scenarios that'll help you to get to where you're supposed to be going in your journey of life. You have a lot of ideas and a lot of thoughts coming through, again, heading towards, it's a good time to be thinking about what you want to cultivate, right? What you want to grow in your life. Visualizing it is also going to be super important with air. So closing your eyes and maybe visualizing what it is you want to pull into your life, right? Or making a manifestation list, even where you're writing out you physically write down everything that you want to manifest, everything that you want to bring into your life. That may be something that's helpful to you this equinox. What do you want to pull in? This equinox for you guys is all about manifesting what you want to pull in, and you have all these different energies helping you. You have an abundance of air energy, which makes it super easy to find clarity, super easy to visualize things, super easy to get ideas. You have this fixed energy that's going to help you to continue things once they're started, to see things through to the end. You have Saturn and all these planets that are working to help you. The only thing to be careful of is like becoming too fixed in things, not being flexible enough, like I said, and carrying a lot of old baggage. So if you find that you're really struggling, if you write out a manifestation list and you're finding like partway through, maybe, so this lasts over 6 months, until the next equinox. If you find during, like maybe at the 2 or 3 month mark, that you're having a hard time manifesting these things, then maybe it's time to go through and clear some things out. I would even say a couple of weeks, depending on, but if you feel that there's blockages, then it's a good idea to go through and clear it out, because it could be that Chiron energy that we said from that opposition saying like, look, there's things you're dragging with you that you just need to release. Okay. So Southern Hemisphere of the world, you guys want to be focusing right now, like I said, on what you want to draw in. This equinox is about creating balance in your life by pulling in and creating the things in your life that you are lacking, right? So what are you lacking that you need to bring in? If you are in the Northern Hemisphere of the world, this is a time for you guys to get rid of the stuff. This equinox is about releasing whatever you have been dragging around with you that is no longer serving you, that is keeping you from being able. It's about releasing things to clear the road so that you can manifest the things you want come the spring equinox, right? I tell people all the time, it's kind of like running 2 races, right? when it comes to the autumn equinox, this is really about clearing that trail, right? Is it easier to walk a trail that is already cleared out, or is it easier to, or you're going to have to climb tree limbs and hills and mountains and whatever else, all these other obstacles in your way, right? Which takes less effort. Much easier to manifest something when you have no obstacles in your way, right? So this is about releasing all those things. Looking at what in our lives do we maybe have an abundance of that we can let go of, or things that just are no longer serving us that we need to let go of as well. So on the other side of that, releasing things too, like I said, it can be an abundance of things. Where do you have maybe too much of stuff that you can afford to give stuff away or give stuff to other people? Do you have an abundance? Maybe you've got a lot of clothes or something, and something you can do for the equinox to create balance with your clothes so that you don't have an extreme amount of clothes, and it's not, is maybe get rid of some of them. Do you have your drawers sitting full of clothes you don't wear? Right? Maybe you can go through your clothing and get rid of the clothing that you no longer wear. What in your life do you have an abundance of that maybe you need to release and get rid of? Or even, like I said, just things that aren't serving you. Are there friends in your life right now that aren't helping you get to where you want to be, that aren't helping you be the best version of you that you can be? That maybe they're toxic relationships and you just got to let them go, right? What are the things in your life that you need to release in order to create more balance in your life? Because it's all about creating balance. So people in the northern hemisphere, you guys can try something similar, a similar exercise where you write out all the things you want to release, and you can tear it up, you can scratch it out, you can burn it, whatever you feel like you need to do, and then throw it away. So write out everything that you want to release, everything that is in your life currently, your external life that isn't helping you, right? All these things that come to mind with all this mental energy, because you're going to have a lot of things flip to mind, I have a feeling, for everybody in the world. So use that air energy. It's all about communication, right? So communicate what you need to be releasing, communicate what you need to be pulling in. So for those of you in the northern hemisphere, write down what you want to release, cross it out, scribble it out, rip up the paper, burn the paper, do whatever you need to do, and just dump it, get rid of it. For those of you in the southern hemisphere of the world, this is a time where you want to be writing out the things that you want to manifest. And as you see these things come into your life, scratch them out, right? Keep that list. Don't tear, if you're in the southern hemisphere, keep the list. Don't tear it up. And, read it constantly. Keep it somewhere where you see it. And then as you read it, you're going to remind yourself of all the things you want to manifest. And as these things come into your life, like, what do you want to draw into your life? Write it all out. And as these things come in, scratch them off so you know what's already come in and what hasn't, right? And then you can kind of reassess things. And maybe with fall equinox, you've noticed some things haven't come in. And then you can go through and clear out those blockages so that next spring equinox, you can pull them in, or whenever. You don't have to wait till the equinox, I'm just saying, But that is definitely an exercise for both hemispheres to try. And I think that concludes everything that I wanted to talk about. And I know that this video was a bit long. I apologize. But there was a lot to cover. So I hope that you guys found this informational and helpful. Please let me know in the comments below if this was helpful to you. A few people have asked about houses. I'm not going to cover the houses. I might do in the full moon and new moon videos, but I'm not going to do them in equinoxes because it is for the whole world, and to go through all the houses because it varies from time zone to time zone to time zone. I don't know. I just feel like it's not something I should cover for the equinoxes and stuff. If you guys have questions about the houses, of course, I can definitely answer those. So, you know, if you look at your chart and you notice it in a specific house and you don't know what that means, by all means, leave it in the comments below and I will be more than happy to reply to you and answer your question. But to go through them all in the video, it would just be too long and too drawn out, and I don't do that. Just going through the aspects and stuff is long enough. So again, guys, let me know what you thought of this video, if it was helpful and if it was useful to you. And I will be back probably later on this week to do another video for Mercury retrograde. We'll be talking about what that is and the astrology involved in this Mercury retrograde, which happens on the 26th of September, I believe. So it's coming up. But until then, I hope you guys have a fantastic week, day, whenever you're watching this. And I will see you guys all next time. Bye, guys.